Oh, hello everyone. It's Crypto Granny here, Susie. Hope you're having a great day. Please look after your animals. They need looking after in this world that's giving up animals. Just horrible. Anyway, this is the podcast. I thought I'd just do this another video today. Just talking about the cryptocurrency market, any of the main news stories that affect our investment portfolios and our trading portfolios, what we believe is important, what I believe is certainly important in terms of markets. Some of the main stories out there, we can't look at every story. Clearly, there is so much information coming out on crypto. But some of the main stories that we hold in terms of coins, what we think is going to happen going forward, and just our general views of this market. So let's look at live coin watch. Market cap is 1.252 trill, going up nicely. Volume is at 41.716 bill. Liquidity is quite good at 4.728 bill. Bitcoin dominance is 46.33% and going high because there is no supply of Bitcoin on the exchange. That's very clear, okay? Bitcoin's just gone over 30,000 as we speak. Ethereum's at 1921. US Tether 0.9986, Binance 321, USDC 0.997, XRP just over 50 cents, ADA 40, 0.082 for Doge, Matic 1.11, and OB is $42. So let's talk about the main news stories today that were event risks. And the main one was clearly CPI, okay? CPI came out, the forecast was 5.6, the core came out 5.6. US CPI month on month was 0.4. Don't forget the year on year was the highest, around 9.1%. So this is not a bad figure. The Fed should like this figure. Year on year 5% and month on month 0.1. So actually a little bit weaker than what they anticipated. This is good for risk markets and good for cryptocurrency, absolutely. And the Fed, in my mind, should not rate hike on the 3rd of May. The Fed FOMC meeting, the Federal Open Market Committee meeting is on May the 2nd to May the 3rd. And in my mind, they should not rate hike. Things are quite bad out there, and I believe they shouldn't rate hike in May. Also, that CPI figure, what watered down was food prices. Eggs came down about 11 to 12%. As you can see from this, the US CPI eggs, for example, from Holger Schapitz, thank you very much, man. But also gasoline prices came down and fuel prices, okay? But what we did see is people are still shorting this market, which I think they're crazy to short this market. There is no Bitcoin left. And also there's articles out there, if you believe them, but I certainly do, that there is a lack of supply of physical coin. And we can talk about Polygon Matic for that one as well. So 38,000, over 38,000 traders were liquidated. They were actually short. The market's rallying and they had to buy back the positions, okay? And they were short Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Doge, 8 and XRP and SCNX and so forth, okay? So the figure was a good figure. It was aligning with it in expectations. I mean, honestly, I don't think they can rate rise anymore, but I do believe the Fed is a bit silly about this, to be perfectly honest with you. You had Fed Kashkari come out. They want inflation around 3% by the end of the year, closer to 2% the following year. I think, you know, this is pretty good as it gets, right? There is concern out there that US banks are not lending, and there's been a record decline in lending to small businesses and to other corporates, okay? And I mentioned that yesterday in the other podcast. Also, European banks are offloading risk in their portfolios, especially, you know, high risk things like high risk bonds and this sort of thing, right? And offloading loans to hedge funds as well. We are seeing the US bank regulation is certainly behind what's going on in real markets. We saw 3 banks, you know, have a very ugly demise, and you know, Silicon Valley being one of them. And it's not a great story, okay? We're seeing there's a lack of liquidity in financial markets, and it's not great, and that could cause a lot of problems in terms of the risks of markets and where the risks go, right? Even the International Monetary Fund came out and said global growth is going to be fairly low, and the Fed and, you know, the federal central bank, as well as other central banks in the world, should not be rate hiking, okay? I don't believe what Janet Yellen said, the Treasury Secretary. They're not anticipating a slowdown in the US. Everything I look at tells me the US economy, the fundamentals of the economy are falling off a cliff. Now, what's important today, after we've had CPI, is the FOMC minutes to see how bearish they were or bullish in terms of rate rising. The budget is out, and their budget is getting worse and worse because they're actually the US is not exporting enough to pay off their budget balance. In other words, they're importing more than exporting, and they're not getting US dollar receipts to pay off their budget balance as well as their high debt, which is in the trillions, okay? On Friday, we've got US core retail sales for the consumer, which is consumer spend, and this will tell us exactly whether the consumers are, basically trying to save. And we see that with all the other indicators out there. The consumer in the US is hitting a wall. They don't have a lot of money. The disposable income is getting less and less because inflation's running at 20% reality, and they're not spending. And they expect that the consumer retail sales will be negative 0.4. In terms of blockchain, we've had the hard fork for Ethereum. That's still happening today. Euler has got a token unlock. Ethereum, the blockchain hard fork is still happening. ELA has got a hard fork, and Galaxy's got a token unlock of quite a few tokens, which could see that price depressed as well. And NYM on Friday, okay? Now, Binance CZ came out and said the regulators need a deep understanding of crypto for proper rules. It's nothing new to us. Fair income. The US regulators are just behind the eight ball. They've got no idea. The US used to be an entrepreneurial country with the greatest ideology and the greatest, they've developed the internet and Facebook and everything else. And, also probably, Bitcoin maybe, the original Bitcoin and its technology, but they're just behind the curve because Hong Kong and Asia are taking over big time. CZ Pang, Changpeng Zhao from Binance said that the crypto regulators need to have a deep understanding of the industry to facilitate proper crypto regulation, okay? They need to understand technology. It's as clear as that. They don't know anything about technology. Every time you hear Gary Gensler, the SEC chair, talk about crypto, he never talks about technology ever. It's not in one of his not in one of his speeches. He does not talk about technology. And CZ is absolutely right. The traditional financial industry is completely different to the crypto technology and cryptocurrency industry. Crypto tends to be decentralized. Financial systems in the existing industry is centralized. We have incredible technology in crypto that is bigger than the internet in 1992, 1993. And imagine Gensler being there in 1992, 93, trying to, regulate crypto, regulate internet. Give me a break. We'd still be in the dark ages and living in caves probably if he was around then as well, right? CZ said the worst of the regulation is that it's unclear. There's no clarity, and it makes it even worse because people don't know, who they should be looking at in terms of regulation. The US has so many different departments of regulation. You don't know whether you're Arthur or Martha. That's the bottom line, right? It's a shocker. He also said that the over-regulation, the SEC and all the other regulatory environments in the US against crypto is actually triggering mass adoption of crypto. So the governments are actually, forcing people to go to crypto, right? Where there's better staking rates and everything else, and people want to control their own finances, particularly when banks go down the gurgler. And, you could potentially lose your deposit sitting in a bank that's supposed to be safe. People don't have any trust in the banking system anymore in the US, and they certainly don't have trust in the banking system in some of the Asian and African countries all over the world, as well as Eastern European, right? So the crypto market legislators need to understand the cryptocurrency technology. Now, I was active on Twitter today, and basically Gensler had something happening on the 14th or something. And I said to him, man, you are totally backward to this incredible technology, cryptos, more massive than the internet. And not once did you mention these incredible technologies. Very sad for the US, which is was the most entrepreneurial country in the world. And everyone's going to start moving out of the US. We've already seen it, okay? He needs to understand the technology. Fed income coins and tokens are often needed to drive the technology in a decentralized way, right? And in my mind, it's just pushing America backward vis-a-vis Asia and Hong Kong and China, which is behind Hong Kong, right? CZ expects money to move to Hong Kong, and he's absolutely spot on about that. He mentioned US Tether. Also, there's a lot of banks in Hong Kong that are willing to be new banking partners for the exchanges and cryptocurrency corporations in the US. A Hong Kong virtual bank named Z Bank said it would start providing crypto and fiat currency transfers and account services for virtual asset service providers. Big, big story, right? They're interested in working with cryptocurrency exchanges and corporations. They really want it to be a crypto hub in Hong Kong. This is big. They get access to the high net worth individual in China. I can't tell you how much money these Chinese people have. Chinese people have bought a lot of property in Australia, and that's why our property market was so expensive, right? So this is a great story for Hong Kong, right? And particularly with this new bank, which is the biggest virtual bank in Hong Kong, and there's going to be a bridge between cryptocurrency and digital assets and currencies, right? They know what they're doing, the Hong Kong people, and they're smart about it, and they want Web3 adoption to significantly change the broader crypto sector, which means you own your own data. You don't get your data sold with Web3, Web2, like through Facebook and Google and this sort of thing. How do you think they advertise to you all the time, right? So they want to be cutting edge, right? And they want to be in front of the US. And at the moment, they certainly are. And it's not great for the US, okay? Not great at all. Again, CZ said, Changpeng Zhao from Binance, the CEO, said crypto regulation by enforcement is really, really bad. And it is really, really bad. As you know, Mr. Zhao and Binance are being sued by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. And again, this is another department in the US with all the different regulatory departments. As I said, you don't know whether you're Arthur or Martha, right? I mean, having bad regulation is just confusing. No one knows what the hell's going on. And again, you've got Gensler saying that every cryptocurrency out there, excluding Bitcoin, is a security, which is just absolute garbology, right? Trying to place all cryptocurrency technology into the Howey rule, which came out in 1940, which is nearly 100 years ago, right? 100 years ago. Also, there's another story here about the SEC aggressively asserts authority over crypto, saying virtually all tokens are securities. These guys are mad. What about the technology? What about the technology? You know, the US Securities and Exchange Commission Investment Advisory Committee has advised the SEC to aggressively assert authority over crypto assets that are securities. According to Mr. Gensler, who is not even an entrepreneur, he's an academic, right? An academic, I'll say that again, he doesn't even talk about technology, fair income. He doesn't talk about technology, right? The advisory committee believes that virtually all of its assets of crypto are securities. I mean, you know, honestly, America will pay the price for this because technology will go to Asia and China. Absolutely, right? Mr. Gensler's got no idea as far as I'm concerned. And there's going to be a big meeting with Mr. Gensler on Capitol Hill next week. So look out for that because it's going to be very interesting. Some people believe that he is not the right person to be the chair of the SEC. And I don't think he is either because he doesn't talk about technology and he's just an absolute academic that doesn't have a proper business sense. It's what's important in terms of growing economies, growing jobs, the next level in technology. For heaven's sakes, we are, you know, in the world of AI, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, all different things that can do so much for you. And this fellow is not even looking at the technology. I just want to roll my eyes and scream, you know. He also believes that all crypto tokens, Gensler, other than Bitcoin, are securities. He repeatedly said this, and seriously, you know, I want to roll my eyes here. You know, he said that investors have lost a lot of money, but honestly, he wasn't doing his job with FTC, Fair Income. You know, he was great mates of, you know, who, and seriously, he didn't do his job, right? I mean, as long as you're getting paid money and all this sort of business, you know, and these people should be accountable, not, you know, everyone else that's trying to run a business like Binance or Coinbase or whatever, where it takes them 5 days of the week to comply with the US regulatory environment. And they've got thousands of people on compliance, right? And it's costing them a fortune, you know. I mean, the paperwork that's flown between all these different exchanges and Ripple has been to millions and millions of paperwork going to the SEC and nothing gets done, right? I mean, this is a shocker. I've got to tell you that. This is a shocker. Also, Binance has been put off, Tron has been put off Binance chain in the US, Binance exchange in the US, simply because, again, Mr. Justin Sun's also got trouble with the US regulatory authority as well, okay? So it just goes on and on and on. Now, Ethereum, as you know, is doing a hard fork today. It's going to proof of stake from proof of work, and it could bring out some selling because there is a lot of staked Ethereum and what has to be released, from the Beacon project, and that could be released in the next couple of days. And there's been an estimate by who's it called? And there's been an estimate that it's about 300 million. It's 300 million units of Ethereum, but we'll come to that anyway, right? So, here we go. Glassnode estimates 300 million of Ethereum may be sold after the Shanghai upgrade. So people are expecting a little bit of weakness in Ethereum, the price, which doesn't surprise me. I'd rather buy Bitcoin than Ethereum anyway, because Ethereum has so much supply anyway. And I just think it's overpriced anyway. That's my view. I think Ethereum is way too overpriced. And you can certainly see that more traders are buying puts on Ethereum than Bitcoin, okay? So this is going to be very interesting because people can sell their staking amount of Ethereum, right? And we'll just see where that goes, right? VeChain came out with some stuff on Twitter, and I love Twitter. It's talking about more nodes. They can provide, that VeChain has one of the best mainnet blockchains in the world. It's doing heaps with China, heaps. They are seriously clever, and that price of VeChain should be more than 2.5 cents. I've got to tell you that, people, fair income, it is cheap as chips, Also, Splendid.vet said that VeChain's energy consumption is equal to just 0.04% of other blockchains. It is green, just like RippleNet. Green. And it's an amazing story. Also, Elon Musk gave Twitter's name the X, which is interesting. I don't know why. Maybe it's X Corp or something to do with his space X or whatever. He's indicated that it might take Dodge more than anything else. We'll have to see on that one. Visa leads attempts to form an interoperable digital payment service. They're getting bigger and bigger, and they're focusing on peer-to-peer, which is great, because even if the governments, say, right, no to crypto or crypto buying or selling, they cannot stop peer-to-peer, okay? Peer-to-peer between me and you, right? We can trade Bitcoin between each of us or any other crypto, right? And you can buy a house off me or vice versa with whatever crypto you want. Now, Bitfinex secures El Salvador's first digital asset provider license in El Salvador, which I think is interesting. Again, all the exchanges are looking for opportunities overseas. It makes sense because the US is too hard. Now, Bittrex has left the US, but Bitfinex might be the next one to leave the US because of the regulatory environment. It's a shocker. Now, also Chiles, which I love, is going to facilitate fan token burns thanks to the UEFA Champions League. They're looking to burn some tokens and based on performance, which is a great story for them. They're looking to burn, what are they looking to burn here very quickly? They're looking to burn 20,000 City fan tokens, Manchester, and they're looking to burn, what else? Is it just City? Here we go. No, schedule. 20,000 we burned. Quarterfinal win. In total, 50,000 City tokens were burned, accounting for burns for each goal, which is great for them. Chile is very, very cheap. It's a fan token platform, and I love it, okay? Absolutely love it. It's a great story, and, they have a lot of clients, already 10 million clients for Chiles, which is fantastic. Now, this SEC Ripple thing, if you can understand the stuff that comes out, you're a much better lawyer than me. I barely have any legal skill set at all. And if you can understand what they're talking about here in terms of letter of supply authority, well, you're doing really, really well, right? Apparently, the SEC won on that, something about a judgment and, something I can't even understand, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just too hard to understand. Something to do with Commonwealth, something or other, something Commonwealth, and oh my God. I try to read this stuff and I just don't get it. Even when I read, to be honest, even when I read, all the other stuff, I still don't understand it. But what we get from this basically is that it's going to delay the judgment with Judge Tories. That's my understanding of it. And, Mr. John Deacon came out there and said that, it would delay her judgment until probably from, now until May the 6th or something. So the Supreme Court said that they had provided fair notice to Ripple. Ripple were relying on not the fair notice thing, and they lost that apparently. But an Australian lawyer, Bill Morgan, came out and dismissively comment on the SEC's new letter refuting any comparability. If you think that there is a fact similarity in selling an asset like XRP in a market which is 13 years old to buyers to whom it owed no post-sale obligations, and a case in which an investment advisor failed to make all necessary disclosure on potential conflicts, interest from which it benefited to the retail clients to whom it owed fiduciary duties and who funds its managed, feel free to be anxious about the SEC bringing the case. God, does that make sense to me? It doesn't actually. I've got to be honest. I just think the SEC are pretty stupid, and I think this is costing the US a lot of money as well as Ripple. And the SEC just wants to take their time. Seriously, they're clearly highly paid government employees, and they don't have the risk of markets like we do. We're invested in cryptocurrency markets. So if you can make heads or tails out of that, that's great. Now, XRP Ledger has also powered a pharma and healthcare platform, and it aims to revolutionize African health industry. I love this. This is a great story, leveraging off XRP Ledger. In Africa, the healthcare system is terrible. There's a lot of people in Africa that need help. They can do a lot in Africa simply because their system is decentralized, it's energy efficient. They have different side lanes change. You can have private XRP Ledger or a public one. The speed, the scalability, the cost of transactions using XRP Ledger, minimal interoperability. It's a fantastic story, and it's going to affect probably millions. 1.4 billion of Africans could benefit from this, which is huge. Okay, Dr. Mark Ogrifia, Chief Medical Officer of XRP Healthcare, explained the objects. We're working to create a new sound in African private healthcare sector by combining pharma, crypto, and medicine. I mean, this is a great story. Ripple is unbelievable, right? Also, XRP Ledger surpassed 79 million. And, they've been going and going and going. They've never had a hack. It's incredible technology. I got to tell you that Ripple XRP should be so high. My valuation for Ripple is about $1,240 per unit now. And look, honestly, it's just this SEC thing has killed it. But again, once that's over, Ripple will fly. I can tell you that right now. Okay. Now, Mr. Deaton came out and said he's confident the judge will say XRP secondary market sales are not in play and they're not securities, right? He's basically saying that. Also, friends of the court have said the same thing. And he says he believes that she's a very good judge and she will see sense that it is a script of technology, right, in the RippleNet mainnet where XRP is used, okay? So he believes that she will come out with the right decision, but that decision will be delayed, and that decision should come between now, the 12th of April, and May the 6th. Coinbase begins floating rate note token airdrop, and it depends on where you're sitting, what jurisdiction, and this sort of thing. It's happening in the next 72 hours or so. Some people are allowed to get it and some aren't, but according to Coinbase users from Japan or New York, they are ineligible for the flared token airdrop. And I don't quite understand why New York is, but there's different rules and regulations in the US, which makes it so difficult for anyone to understand, right? Coinbase are also announcing another listing of some coins in terms of Web3, and those coins are Polygon-based demo, which is aimed towards the automobile industry, and a metaverse-themed Virtue, which is TVK, which should be interesting. Binance has delisted Tron in a move that was carried out after the US Securities and Exchange Commission reasoned against the crypto mongrel. So again, we know that Tron Justin Sun is being sued, and so Binance US has had to delist Tron's coins, which is very unfortunate and very, very annoying for anyone that's trying to build a business, okay? Mr. Justin Sun was interviewed with the Financial Times in China, and they discussed the SEC lawsuit. He said he expects it to be settled and doesn't consider it to be a big deal. Why should he? Because he's in Asia, he's in Hong Kong, and he knows how much money he's going to make being in Asia and Hong Kong. Already, UB has made $30 million profit this year, and they're doing more and more volume in the Asian market. So Mr. Sun basically, said, look, we'll get over this. It's just them being them, and we're going to be in different areas. So again, we're not going to get too upset about the US regulatory environment, which is onerous and absolutely ridiculous. Now, according to Mazzari, Polygon Matic has the lowest amount of supply on the exchange in years, right? This is really important. Sorry, it's not Mazzari, it's sentiment. And again, if that's the case, there's low supply of Polygon, it means that it's going to be very limited to how much you can sell off by, okay? Polygon has been an incredible performer. I've got to say, one of my first clients told me to buy Polygon, Matic Polygon at 2 cents. So it's been an incredible performer. Also, apparently, according to sentiment, dormant money is also showing some signs of moving with multiple large dips happening. And, any dip, they want to buy it, okay? As I said, Elvador was granted Bitfinex of country's first license for additional assets, which is great for them. And we just have to wait and see, right, what happens in the next week. But I'm very, very bullish cryptocurrency. I believe it goes higher and higher. People are crazy to be short when there's no physical supply of Bitcoin. You've got to be absolutely nutty as far as I'm concerned. I believe interest rates are too high. I'm a mega bull on cryptocurrency. There is no physical supply. And I believe crypto is going to go high in price. And I said that late last year, where I got ridiculed at on Twitter, but I don't care. I know I'm right. And that's all there is to it. Anyway, guys and girls, I hope you have a great day. And please look after your animals. And I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you for listening.